Welcome back to another senior spotlight interview featuring me and Mr. Stoll. Today we're gonna be featuring a little someone else, Isaac Myhal. I'm excited to interview him. He's a cool kid, so we're gonna get to know him a little more today and see what his future holds. So, Isaac Myhal, how many years have you been attending Worthington Christian?
7. Thanks for having me, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, yeah.
I've been here 7 years. I came from New Albany, was where I went to elementary school, and I
Mm-hmm.
showed up in 6th grade, and it's definitely been, I think, a change for the better.
I assume you've been involved in extracurricular activities. What does that look like? Is that sports, arts, theater? What's that look like?
My biggest thing has been choir. I've been in choir all the years I've been here, and I I think Mrs. Klepeek and Mrs. Stevenson were great directors. That has really been, even though it's a small school, the the arts opportunities have been amazing, and I'm glad I've gotten to develop so much with that. Going along with that, I got into theater somewhat just, my mom said, "Hey, you should try out," and I did it, and I really started to like it. A lot of friends were also in it, so I kept up with that, and I've gotten to be in. I'm even wearing today
Ooh.
Godspell T-shirt
Oh, yeah.
from our spring musical a year ago, and that's been a great experience. We just won awards for the program, so people are noticing that we're doing something great with that. And then I don't swim anymore, but I swam club, and then I got to do it in high school for 2 years.
Oh yeah,
Which I really enjoyed the high school swimming. It just ended up being too much to fit
yeah.
into my
with
schedule.
theater,
But
yeah.
that's I think that I did battle over books in middle school. That was
So you're all over the place.
I enjoyed
You're doing
that.
everything.
Yeah.
Isaac's
Also,
doing everything, guys.
eventually you've got to pick only a couple things to do
Yeah.
because it just keeps piling on.
But
But
moving on to your future, now that you're graduating here in very soon, actually, next couple of weeks, which is crazy. What does your future look like? What do what are you planning to do in college?
I'm going to Hillsdale, which is a liberal arts college.
to Hillsdale.
I think I heard that you were looking
Yeah.
at it. It's right in Michigan, not too far from Ohio-Michigan border. Uh, it is a very dedicated to a well-rounded education.
Yeah.
You get experience in not just like field work, but also just thinking about issues with people who are in different
It's a
majors.
smart college.
Yeah. I have to say the preparation that I needed to go through, like the interview process and
I did that interview too.
yeah,
Good
it was
stuff.
they're
professional.
not messing around. It was, I think I pulled out some of the stuff from Bible class though. There were some really valuable classes I've taken here at WC that
Because they asked some
helped
deep,
with
they asked
that.
some deep questions. Like it was like deep questions. It's like some of it kind of shot me off my chair because I was like shocked at how like
Yeah.
you think it's just gonna be this little college interview, but Hillsdale's a very good college, and Isaac's obviously a very smart kid. So
I'm excited
What-
that I have the opportunity to go and study there.
what do you want to study there?
Mathematics will
Really?
be my major. I've looked through a lot of different classes that I'm not sure exactly how much I'll get to do of each one, but
Yeah.
I like to keep a variety in there.
Yeah. So mathematics. What made you want to look at mathematics as a major? And what does that look like after college too? Like, what do you want your job to be?
Yeah, so I kind of figured out, I'd been doing there was some advanced math tracks that I got onto, and then I just started just eating up the content. I would just keep pushing to get more and more learning out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like 5th grade. I kept getting above grade math stuff, and
Yeah.
that I just enjoyed it and put a lot of time into it. So in when I got to middle school and I started like just looking in, okay, where can I find more content outside of even class? Because at some point it gets to like it starts getting, okay, you're doing high school credit classes. You've got to do the work here and stay focused.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't know that you were so, you know, you did so many different things. You know, technology, choir, what was it? Theater, sports. So when you're looking at underclassmen, what, advice would you give to someone who's kind of afraid to make that like creative step? They're kind of looking to like fit in a little bit and just kind of follow the flow. Obviously, you took a step out and followed your creative path and did a bunch of different things that kids don't do. So what do you tell someone who's like kind of feeling that, but they don't really want to put the time in, or
Yeah, there's always different ways to approach it, and I even know, like, the way that I sort of do things is I put a ton of time into, I want to learn everything about this thing that I'm interested in, and I typically stick with it. It's not the only way to do it. You can go, and if you don't have like the motivation to every day be like to do an online class and stick with it because a lot of some of the stuff that I did was like I would do online programming courses, and you have to, it's fairly long to get to the point where you can actually like go out and make something that you're going to be impressed by. So you can also just sort of test out. You'll find if you start on something and do a little bit of it, though you have time as an underclassman, you have time. Those things will come back later. You'll like find the pieces of it that you really want to stick with, and maybe at some point, like as you start to commit to things, then you have a little bit of pressure to stay with it, and like that adds a little motivation to it. But like I did swimming for a while, and then I started adding pieces in that eventually made it so that I wasn't like, that wasn't the extracurricular that I stuck with all the way to the end of senior year. So that's, you sort of just try one little piece, invest in it while you have the strong motivation for it. And now that the big thing is that takes you have to be willing to not just stick with what you're familiar with, and that's probably the hard part. And it doesn't matter how you approach it, whether you're gonna throw in a bunch of work towards it and like stick with it long term, like you're gonna commit to it, or if you're not that kind of person that does that right up when you're starting to get interested. Regardless, you have to be willing to say, just because I don't know this right now, I don't really know what I'm doing, you've got to take what you've got and start working with it. And you will, even if you don't find that that's something you want to keep doing, at least you'll be confident that like, okay,
I put effort.
Yeah.
I put some of me into it.
Yeah, it wasn't just a waste of time. I wasn't just like saying I wanted to do this thing and really just sticking with what I've got to do for school and all that. You've got to go a little beyond that and really do something that is different from what everyone else is doing.
Awesome. So be different. Don't blend in. Just be different. Follow what God's put on your heart, because obviously God's put a lot of this stuff on your heart. I mean, a lot of biblical, programs. So that's awesome, Isaac. Isaac, that's all I have. Thanks for sharing with Wake Up WC. It was great having you, man.